Hey folks, time again to do a retro CSS battle. We've got January 10th and 11th from 2024 here. Let's get right to it. This shape, I don't know exactly what this shape is. I'm not going to think too hard about it. But I think I want to do it all in backgrounds, right? So let's see if we can get a radial gradient that will repeat and do those circles. So that's going to be a radial gradient, transparent in the middle, comes to this color here, and then is transparent again. And then it does need to be a circle. Okay, so in terms of the size, and then in the background, we want to put this color. All right, so we need to get some widths here. 30 pixels, 0, 50 pixels, and that's probably not big enough. How about 50 and 80, and then another color stop. Okay, so is that might be a little too thick. How about 75? All right, and then let's move that around. We're going to move that. Actually, yeah, we're going to move that around. Minus 100 pixels, and then again a minus 50 pixels, something like that. Okay, let's move this around. 60. Okay, and then 100. Okay, a little too far. We are getting a repeat there, but we're not going to worry about that yet. How about 90, 80, or 75, minus 75. Okay. Looks to be a little too wide. All right, so let's move these around again. 65, 60, 75. 80, no, 50. All right, 50, 55, 60, and I guess vertically we need to go further, 80. All right, is that, how about 85? Okay, I think that's getting close. How about more on the x-axis, 65? All right, so I think that what that means is it's a bigger circle. So let's go 60 and 90. No, 60 and 80. 60 and 80. That could be right. And then we'll go a little bit further over. 7, 8, 9. Okay, and then 75. 70. There it is. Okay. So what do we need to do to make that repeat? I think what that means is that the size of this is a little bit smaller than the outer size. So if this outer radius is 80, that means the width of this is 160, and so maybe the width is 150. Okay. So okay, now that we've done that, we get that set of circles. So let's move our background position a little bit more. Let's just start at 0 and go 10 pixels, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 55. Close. That's the ideal, right? Maybe it's 140. Is that right? All right, let's do the same thing we just did. Maybe it's just 50. How about 60? 60. And that's right. We like it. Okay, so the trick that I've got for adjusting this color is a conic gradient. I know you're all shocked. Conic gradient, which is well, we still need that vertical line, don't we? Okay, so let's do this pink part. So we'll do that 75%, and then that color, and then we need to move it over, and then move it down. But the shape is still wrong. Okay, so we need to move it over a little bit more horizontally, 110, 20, 30, and then down a little bit more, 6, and then using the at, which is, we're changing the center of that gradient, at 30%, 50%, something like that. How about 40%? 40%, 20%. No, 35%. Okay, that's pretty good. 6, and then 35%, 60%. All right, and then now we need the last bit, which needs to be on it. We put it on the top here. Linear gradient, comma, and that's going to be transparent. 0, some amount, and then that thing. And I need to come in from the side, so it's a 90-degree conic gradient. How about 50%, 0, and then 60%, and then transparent again, 0. That's the idea. How about 55? How about 45%? 45, 46, 47, 48, 46, 45, 46, 47, 0.5. A silly number. I don't like that. How about 180 Q, 190 Q, 200 Q, 201 Q. Still don't have it in a mental model for how to decide what Q units are, but they work. You could also do this in pixels. It's probably something like 195 pixels. So let's do a higher number, 220 Q. 222 Q. Let's submit that and see if we get 100%. If we don't, then I'm going to guess it's the Q units, but nope, that's a 100% match, and we will take it. Get out while the getting's good. Unit replace and minify. Nip and tuck at some of the sizes of these things, some of the extra space that's there. Resubmit, and we're done with this one. That's a fun one. Oh, and I guess we're not using the paragraph tag, so we don't need that, and any other optimizations we can make. In addition to 90 degrees, we could do to left, right? But that's longer. You can also do to right, which happens to be the same thing, but 90 degrees is shortest. What other things can we do? I don't think this circle. Yeah, circle doesn't work. I can remove the word circle if I do this, and then do 35 VW. But then that makes me change the. Oh, yeah, no, I can't do that. It still needs to be 100%. So I don't want to do that at all. I really don't want to do that. So that's fine. What else? I guess that's it. Oh, one little trick is you can remove that last brace, even though that's really, I don't like that aspect. That seems like such a cheap little removal of code. But it is code golf. How short can you make it and have the CSS Battle servers like it? But really about making that shape, right? That's the thing. Whatever that shape may be. Maybe it's an arrow. We'll be generous and say it's an arrow. All right, next. Cool. Let's do our blank template and give that element a border. Border what is it, 20 pixels solid yellow, right? And no background, right? And then let's put that purple on the body. And let's do margins. So margins are going to constrain this, and we're going to need a second one. And we can do that with a conic or the radial gradient inside it, or we can do it with a second element. Let's see what we need to do there. All right, so first we need some changes here: 50, 60, 62, 3, 4, 65, and then this number is too high: 55, 56, 57. Okay, now we need a border radius. 40 pixels, 50, 60, sure, and then more height, I think, 10, 20, 30. So that's our first shape. And we don't have a background and we don't have a second element. So there's two ways to do this. We can do radial gradient, circle, transparent, 40 pixels, let's say, yellow, 0. Oh, and I guess I need the keyword background, which is why I'm not getting the proper. And there's a circle. Circle at 50%, 10 pixels, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 pixels. And then that's probably also 20 pixels, so that makes that 60 pixels, that radius, and then transparent. And that's the shape. So that's that much code. What if we have another element? So I'm going to make that color some other color. Let's make it white. So what if I did a second element? And here I can target it, and I can say width, do height 50, and margin of a -100, 0. There it is. $110, $120, $130, $40, $50, $60, $70, $80, $185, puts us roughly in the same position. And then that height needs to be a little taller. 6, 7, 8, 9, 8. So height, and then let's increase. So that's another way to do it. So which is shorter, this P plus P with the height and the margin, or the radial gradient is clearly more verbose. So let's get rid of that. And that's another way to do it. And let's submit and make sure that we have a match. I don't see any errors in this, even though it does seem to strobe. So that is 100% match. Okay, so yes, so radial gradient, lots of code. An element with a height, margin, and then reuse the border and reuse the height, and then I can actually do --h and --m, and then use these as CSS custom variables, --m, comma, or that, and then var --m or 130. And get the same, almost get the same thing. Oh no, height. There it is. Okay, and that's even a little shorter. And that's a little bit shorter code. That's a fun one too. Great. Very happy with those. Awesome. And that's a nice score too. So yeah, fun techniques on this one too, and actually compare the verbosity. How much code do you need to write to get that radial gradient versus, hey, here's an element and let's tweak it around with sizing, because paragraphs are block level elements, and so they obey the margins and have 100% width within whatever the margins are. So if you change the margins on that element directly, then you can constrain its size. Pretty great. So that's the 10th and 11th of January 2024. I'm going to skip the next one because I've never gotten a 100% match on it. That will be another special video in the future, and then I will continue onward through January at my own pace for the continued reason of I'm very curious to continue to do these, and I do a little bit better in each one, and it's a learning process for me. I'm sure if you did this, you would learn plenty too. Have a great day. Make something cool with CSS and HTML. It's fun to make web pages. Take care.